Last time on your Geek Fix, we unboxed two very different Tony Stark assistants and presented the idea of combining them to make a single 1/12 scale dummy. Can it be done? We'll find out on this episode of your Geek Fix. I've been looking for a dummy model for a while now. The problem is they sell them at 1/6 scale, but finding one that is 1/12 scale that would fit the size of the Tony Stark figures that we're using, like this, you just can't find them. They aren't around for the most part. I did find some custom ones you can purchase, but for the most part, they're hard to get a hold of. And I thought about building one, but you know, it's never going to be quite the same. And what I was hoping is that I can use this base, which has some wheels on it, to put my other dummy on top of, or I'd remove this part and put him right onto there. So, or at least figure out a good way to do it. So I think that's a realistic possibility right at the moment, and that is my plan. So basically I have two dummies that I'm going to Frankenstein together to create a 1/12 scale model. The first thing we want to do is remove the arm right here, like so. Next, at the base, we want to remove the bottom screws and try to pry this off right here. It's a little bit hard to remove with your fingers. Probably better with a blade or a screwdriver, but it does come off. To remove the base, we need to take out this last screw. So there we go. We could use this base later because this is the base that they use some of the time whenever they have to be stationary, but I don't see a real point in that right at the moment. As you can see, the width of the bases are the same. And now for the moment of truth. We'll see how well our rolling base fits into the body. It looks like it's not going to quite fit, at least not right now. Next, we cut off the base of both figures and sand them down to fuse them together. I'll come back to the base here in a second. This is not quite scaled right, but I think the reason why this isn't quite right, because it should be, this part right here should be over here, and this shouldn't be so long right here. So we'll cut along here and use some of this tubing and some glue on the inside to be able to extend this portion. Realized that the thickness I needed was the same as one of these pens right here. And so, taking it apart, all I need is the white piece. I need to trim it down a little bit, and we'll have to sand off the name that's on the side. I'm also going to cut over here, making this flat, and use the same process to connect those. We removed the joint on the large figure. I am also going to use the claw and the pivot on this figure to add another point of articulation and accuracy. When cut off, it fits perfectly into our pen. Measure and cut our small tubing to connect the arm piece to the body and slide on the pen. I'm also placing a smaller tube on the outside to run wire through, but that's not necessary. Alright, so here it is so far. These little bands are small hair bands. Over here, as you can see now, we have a couple of points of articulation. As you can see, one is this direction, and the other is this direction. Unlike the real dummy, this doesn't have any wiring. So this is earphone wire that I got at the dollar store, which we can use. I also got some white for using on the base. I also drilled some holes right here and right here to run wire through. And this pipe right here is one of the versions of dummy on the left side for the wires to run through. I wish I wouldn't have put this part on just yet because I still have to paint it, and I don't think it's going to pull apart very easily. Be careful with the claws, they do come out. the bones are there. The color is not quite right either. This yellow is wrong, and so is the black. So, speaking of colors, what I'm going to be using is I have Model Masters. They're gray primer. I might just use the primer by itself. The black that I'm going to be using is a flat black. In this case, it's actually chalkboard that I'll be using. And then the yellow, this is kind of more orangish yellow. That is more the color that we saw for those parts. As far as the pistons go, this is the chrome that I'm going to use for coloring these two pistons. The one in the movie, this back piston was black all the way from what I can see, but I might still make it silver as well. We'll see. When painting it, I used a primer followed by alternating spray of chrome and flat black. That gives it kind of a metallic look. I also repainted the yellow to more of an orange color. I wrote Dum-E, D-U-M-E, in all caps in italics multiple times in different fonts, and then printed them out on a piece of paper. And I think actually the largest font, I think this is actually 12 point, that I picked is the one that I'm going to use. I'm going to cut my squares a little large on this. So this is one of my favorite things that I have. This is the Xyron, I think that's how you pronounce it, sticker maker. And basically the way that it works is you just take these little stickers and you put them onto the sticker going in where it says insert here, and then you pull it from behind like so, and as you can see on the other side, the sticker comes out. You peel off this cellophane and it exposes the sticker, and you can peel that off and we can stick it onto our dummy right here. So stick it onto our, whoops, make sure that it's going to, and stick it onto our dummy right here, and press it around, and there you go. Not too shabby. Get rid of all that, and so there it is. Not too shabby. The articulation still, like I said, can go all the way forward, like so. It can bend backward. It can go up and down at this pivot point. It can bend up and down right here. It can go side to side right here, like that. And the only problem is I feel like I did ruin some of the structure putting too many holes in this section. There's other ways I could have done it, so that's another little flaw with it. I will say be really careful of these pincers. Probably the best way to go is to glue them in, but at the same time I'm hoping that I might be able to swing something where I can actually I can animate them opening and closing, because it seems like I can pull them out a little bit and close them up. Because we're altering it, I won't be able to use these pieces anymore. I did think about repainting this to use as my fire extinguisher, but since we have a separate one that we can use, I'm not going to worry about it. But generally speaking, I mean, it's exactly what I wanted it to be. I can put a broom in there. The other thing I did is I took some paper and I rolled it up, and then I filled it with hot glue, so it's very full. That's very important because I needed it to have some weight and some solid structure to it, so you can actually squeeze this. It's not going to fold up. And then the way that it's actually written on there, the Dum-E or Dunce is written on there, is very specific to the movie. It looks like they used single lines when writing it, and it's written on both sides of the hat. And another reason why I put all the glue in there is so that it would have the weight that when I put it on top of the head, like so, it would be able to stay on there. So anyway, that's basically how it looks. Another thing that I forgot to point out is down here I added in wires. There's two wires that are located between the wheel area and the body. One is black, one is white. The black one goes to the center point of the wheel, and the white one rolls in and under toward the wheel. Then both of them run back into the inside. I didn't even drill into the inside. I found out that that little space back there is enough to hold them and make it look like they're going inside. The scale is just right for Tony Stark. In the set, he looks pretty good too. You can put the camera into his mouth. You can put the extinguisher into his mouth. I'm really happy with the way that this all worked out together. It's really one of my favorite things that we've made on this show. Again, I'll probably still tweak the details a little bit and maybe do a little bit more with the paint job. But for the most part, considering the amount of time we made it in, not bad at all. It's just a couple hours worth of work. It's mostly the paint that you have to wait for, and otherwise it looks pretty good. Let us know what you think of this project. Is this something that you want to try doing? Show us what your version looks like. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, make comments below, and don't forget about our giveaways, which also require that you like, subscribe, and comment below. We'll see you next time. This is your Geek Fix.